Welcome back to the Roundtable Dolphins podcast. This is episode number 31. Please, guys, I'm going to start this episode this way. I've been starting every episode. If you like what you hear, like, share, subscribe, do all the social media things. It really helps us out with exposure. In the description of this video will be the official Roundtable Dolphins site where you can go and create an account completely free. It's got a built-in like Twitter that's kind of like that's called community post, but it's like Twitter. You can comment, like there, share, do all the things. But please do all the things, all the social media things for us. It really helps us out with exposure and all that good stuff, especially if you're a Dolphins fan or a Dolphins hater. I don't care. We welcome all of you people. That being said, we're going to jump right into it. Training camp is ongoing for every single team, including the Dolphins. Some good news, some bad news. We'll start with the bad news. As has been the case for the Dolphins, the offensive line is going through some issues right now. Whether or not anybody believes these to be serious, it is very indicative of the issues that have been plagued or the Dolphins have been plagued by over the last few seasons. Offensive line depth sucks. It's always sucked. It is what it is. I know that maybe I might get in trouble for saying that, but they've always had depth issues. That appears to be the case now. On the right tackle position, Austin Jackson is once again hurt. I know we've talked about this in the past. I'm going to bring it up again. Jeff Hafley did say, excuse me, Jeff Hafley did say that it's a minor injury and that he's day to day, but regardless, it's just another issue with this guy not being able to stay on the field. He has been hurt over the past 2 seasons and only played in 14 games since 2024. That's not great for an offensive line. That's very, very important. Every offensive line is important, but especially for the Dolphins because they have Devon Achane and they now have a new quarterback in Malik Willis. He must be protected. They are working diligently with him to plant his feet and throw the ball downfield because he has the capabilities to do that. But if you do not have a good offensive line, you cannot do that. Simply put, Austin Jackson is hurt. Charlie Heck took over. He is the backup right now. And for all intents and purposes, did not do a great job. He was beaten by Chop Robinson, who, to his credit, having a really good camp. Chop Robinson has been a camp star thus far. He's packed on he slimmed down and packed on pounds or muscle, and he's doing great. So maybe that's a testament to just how good Chop Robinson could be in 2026. But that being said, Charlie Heck was bullied around for the most part, leaving the right tackle position with a very glaring hole. And now, what do the Dolphins do? I just wrote a piece this morning. My thing is they may have to shuffle the line. And this is exactly what I brought up months ago, weeks ago. I've been talking about this in my opinion pieces for a minute, that if they don't have a contingency plan in place for Austin Jackson, things are going to go really bad really fast. And I mean, they have Caden Proctor, who they want to keep on the left guard position because him and Patrick Ball have also been bullying everybody. And that was the whole plan. He's an oversized guard at 6'7", 350 pounds. He's a big dude. And you want to put him alongside somebody like Patrick Ball so you can move the left side of the pile, open those run lanes. But on the right, you have a big glaring issue, big glaring hole now if Austin Jackson's not on the field. My theory would be if they don't move Caden Proctor, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, maybe they put Jonas Avanea in that right tackle position. He played tackle in college. He's got the frame, the size of a tackle. He's been doing really well on the right side. I know guard and tackle are different things, but they really kind of don't have any other options, so to speak. Jamari Sawyer is also hurt, and he was the other guy that was going to be pushing for a role. So I said a whole lot, but the essence of this is the right tackle position is now in the same place it was last year. It's a big, fat concern.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby Slowick has kind of addressed this, but in a way that I find deeply concerning, in that he's like, everyone's got to be versatile and ready to play multiple positions, and that they're like preparing for the injuries. And I'm like, we shouldn't be preparing for injuries. We should be putting plans in place to prevent these injuries. Like we've seen other teams bring in these strength and conditioning coaches and these specialist guys to kind of help ensure that that doesn't happen, because absolutely, like, injuries are going to happen. They are, but they shouldn't be commonplace, and they should be, anomalies, not your main starters going down. And if you really believe that, like, you need to prepare for that, then you should have prepared for that through the draft, in my opinion. So It's not looking good. I mean, the stuff with Jonas Savanair is really great. Like I think Bobby Slowick was praising him and saying that his like confidence
Yeah.
and he's excited to see what he can do. And I said this last week, it seems like he's settling into his role and learning how to step up to the plate. So maybe he's wanting to prove himself. But yeah, super frustrating about Austin Jackson. I know that they said it was a minor situation, and let's hope it's a minor situation that can't be re-aggravated, even if he is pushed to be brought back. But this is not how you want to start it, especially with such a run-heavy offense that we've seen in the past. It's just something that you really want fixed, because if that O-line needs to, you know, be shuffled around every week and the chemistry is not good, like it's just not going to look good. And we know that the offense is going to have to put up points this year to compete against those other division teams, let alone everyone else in the schedule. So not a great start to training camp for Miami.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter the fact if it's a minor injury or not. It just
Yeah.
points to like it's concerning just in general because of the fact that Austin Jackson has not been able to stay healthy. So regardless of it's
Yeah, it's
minor,
consistency.
yeah, exactly, whatever it may
Yeah.
be, the fact that he's missing quality time in training camp as a result is
With such
really
a new regime as well, like you really
right.
need him there.
Yeah, and to settle in with this new line and to stay there and build that chemistry, and obviously he's to his credit, he's a pro and he is a very solid tackle when he's on the field. But
You need him there.
yeah,
Especially entering the final year of his deal, you want to prove that you can stay healthy.
Hmm.
You want to prove that you could play, especially like you guys just said under this new regime. And then now you have this thing right here. Yeah, yeah, like I guess the kind of good news or whatever, if you want to look at it that way, is that it's not minor, but at the same time, with the type of history that Austin Jackson has injury wise, it's just never a good sign. Whenever I said this in other pods, whenever you're not practicing, no matter what it is, that's not a good sign. And for Jackson, that is the case. Hopefully, we see him, probably tomorrow or maybe early on next week. But the injury is undisclosed, right? Like he hasn't. There's no word on what type of injury
Don't
it
think
is,
so.
right?
Just
Yeah.
no,
stated as minor.
they just said a minor injury. Same thing with
Yeah.
Jamari Sawyer. He's got a minor thing. Well, there's a few players that have minor things, but regardless of what it is
But
or
if it's so
isn't.
minor
Yeah.
that you
Exactly.
can't like practice, is it really minor?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
know.
Yeah.
they
No,
say
that's the point, right?
they say
Like
day to
if
day because it's like they have soreness or whatever, but regardless, you're missing quality time on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not undisclosed because it's what we had to do last year was a foot and toe issue that kept him out. So if that's the case, then obviously that's never a good sign when you kind of re-aggravate some sort of injury from the past. So that's not good. And I mean, I guess the shining part in this, not in the Austin Jackson thing, but an offensive line, is that Proctor and Brewer are doing really well together. So that's really good. Hafley's been kind of singing Proctor's praises and whatnot. Especially, I know we kind of talked about about that selection, but so far things are looking good. I mean, if they need to move him around, it kind of seems like they have no other choice but to do that. But the good news is that he's doing well so far in camp. He's making a name for himself. But yeah, the Austin Jackson thing, and then the Charlie Heck, him coming in and not being a quality backup, that's spells trouble for Malik Willis, for Devon Achane, and just for the entire Dolphins offense.
Yeah, and again, this just goes to the bigger point of the run game, and especially because of I would say it's not, I don't know, inconsistent chemistry right now with the wide receivers going on, which I mean we'll get into it a little bit here in a second, but I mean the good news is Malik Willis is doing really well in this offensive system, and everyone's seeing his growth right now. Interesting enough, like I brought up earlier, they're keeping him away from running the ball, which I think is very important because they want him to learn how to plant his feet and to trust his progressions and throw the ball downfield as opposed to having to escape danger all the time and then putting himself in danger as a result of that. So again, but you need a strong offensive line for that to happen, because if the coverage breaks down and he has to run, he has to run. What are you going to do? Like, you're going to take the sack and maybe fumble, get hurt? I don't know, whatever the case may be. But No, like so Jeff Halfley is talking about how he's doing really well. Same thing with Bobby Slowick, same thing with everybody. Everyone's seeing his growth, his leadership. I thought it was really cool that I think it was Bobby that talked about how he's getting going in on players now, and if they're not like he's hyping them up if they have a catch, or he's telling them what's up if they don't, if they play softly, and that's what you need. You need that from your starting quarterback, and we already knew this going into OTAs and minicamp because that's what he was doing. He was one of the only players that showed up for a rookie minicamp to meet the guys and make their acquaintance and all that good stuff, and then he held his own camp in Jacksonville and brought over a few players, which we brought up, I believe, last time. But now it's showing on the field. He's breaking down the huddle. He's getting everybody in place. He's acting like the leader that the Dolphins need him to be. Now it's just a matter of can they put things together in a significant way with the offense with him under center. Protection matters. That's going to be the main thing. As long as he can get protected and go through his progressions and do what he needs to do. But again, it's good to see. Everyone, the whole narrative before with Malik Willis is like, can he be a starter? Can he be the guy? And right now, seems like he can be. It seems like he's doing what he needs to do. Obviously, there's some issues here and there, but right now, leadership is there, and that's good because if that weren't there, then the Dolphins would have an even more serious problem on their hands. But we'll see.
I mean, this is why they brought him over. I think they clearly knew that he had this in him and just needed the right situation. So it's really great to see him also being diligent about improving his craft and stepping up to the QB1 role and showing that he doesn't feel entitled to be in that position. They were saying all this about competition and whatever, and even without that really around him, like he's still stepping up and showing like, hey, I'm definitely ready for this. I'm ready for this next chapter of my career. And I think that Bobby Slowick said that he was like living in the facility, spending extra time, studying film and being around all the coaches and the guys and developing chemistry. And it's really positive to see that, he believes that this preparation is kind of translating into a new era for him as a player, I feel like. And also for the Dolphins, this is a whole new era for them, just completely changing, the future of what it's going to be. And, we'll speak about it later, maybe if we get to it, but like that's happening behind the scenes as well. This is a completely new era for the Dolphins. And I think that, he's really stepping up and being part of whatever this identity becomes that they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, definitely.
The good news is that it appears the quarterback position is not that high on the list in terms of worries. So that's a really good that's really good. Malik Willis has shown that he's so far through training camp. Of course, he's more than capable of handling that role, handling that position. This is a guy who's, like we talked about many times, he's only started 6 games, and he's heading into his 5th year in the NFL. If I'm not mistaken. But the good news right now is that he's getting the ball out quicker. He's throwing it with a lot more confidence, and Jeff Halfley pretty much just loves what he sees, and that's. I know it's just training camp, but considering the type of conversations we're having about Malik Willis, whether or not he could kind of carry this team throughout an entire season, so far he's proving that he has the chops for it. No pun intended. But also too, what I'm really liking is the chemistry that he's building with Malik Washington. I mean, obviously we're talking about we're going to get to it a little bit, but in terms of the wide receiver role, who's going to step up, who's going to be that wide receiver one? Malik Washington seems like, he's kind of inching towards that, especially if he continues to develop that chemistry with Malik Willis, right? I mean, obviously he's a quarterback. He's the one that's going to be making making all the decisions. So, if they have that type of chemistry there, they're clearly building it. Then, maybe he could emerge as a wide receiver one.
Yeah. I mean, there is chemistry issues there that were being talked about, but there's training camp. Training camp is rolling on. The Dolphins have their first preseason game on Friday next week. A little over a week. I think today's Thursday, right? Yeah. So we'll see. I don't even know if Malik Willis is going to be out there. I would imagine so, but I don't know for sure. He may not. But regardless, I mean, there's some exciting weapons there. It's just really, again, putting it all together. And right now, the biggest concern is the offensive line. That's the biggest thing right now. But we'll see, I guess. One of the more interesting actually aspects of camp that's been popping up lately is Ollie Gordon too, and the Ollie Gordon the second, and the running back two position. So interestingly enough, Jeff Halfley indicated that he wants him to become an every down back. Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright split carries in 2025, and both had relative success in the run game. But obviously, when you have Devon Achane leading the room, I mean, how much can you really do? But that being said, Ollie Gordon, he's been working on his pad level. I think one of the biggest things, biggest issues, which he also called himself out on, is he stands too upright when he's running, as opposed to putting his pads down and being able to kind of get through defenders and slip tackles and all that good stuff. And he has the size and frame to be a really good yards after the carry type of running back. What this means for Devon Achane, probably not much of anything, but it does open up a really strong camp battle between himself and Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon, and Jalen Wright, because who's going to get that RB2 spot? And also, what kind of damage can he do as the backup to Devon Achane? Because Devon Achane obviously can't do everything himself. That's not to say that you don't want to give him the ball every chance you get. Of course you do. But can Ollie Gordon be that second back, and can he surpass Jalen Wright? I mean, they were both on kind of equal footing, so this is going to be one of the more interesting camp battles. But it is obviously Jeff Halfley maybe sees something in Ollie Gordon to where he's like, yeah, this guy's going to be a 3-down back. We want him to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that I read that he spoke about like last year feeling like loads have been thrown at him. And he feels like this year I think he said this year is more like I can ease into it. I know my study habits. I know how to take care of my body also now. And I think that speaks to where the Dolphins were at last year. I think like teams can kind of feel when a head coach's tenure is coming to an end, and they probably felt some type of way. And that just creates all kinds of chaos behind the scenes. So I think now, knowing that he's in a new regime where, these guys are going to be around for a while, this is his second year in the NFL, I think it's almost a compliment to the operation of the team, feeling that he's like being eased into these things. And, they seem like they're doing a really good job of identifying talent and what people are good for and what they can be used for. So yeah, no, I like to see him feeling like he can contribute more this year. And we'll see, I guess what happens. I think that they were also talking about his like ability typically was on those third downs, like getting a couple extra inches, and like those things really matter, especially now with people going for it on fourth down and stuff. So I mean, positive things all around for him.
Again, it's his size. It's really the size. Like, he's that bigger running back that the Dolphins need to power run his way through, but he just got to work on that pad level, which he indicated as such that he's working on that. But if he can put his
at least
shoulder
he's
down,
identified it.
yeah, if he can put his shoulder down and bully his way, through a couple of defenders to get those extra inches or yards, as you just said, then the Dolphins could convert on a very short 4th and 1. Because again, as you said, a lot of teams went for fourth down in 2025, and we were
4th and 4, 4th and 5. They were going for it.
Yeah, I mean, and I love it. I love the aggression, because it's like that changes the tide, that changes the offensive series. Like, it changes a lot. So I'm all for it.
No, yeah, no, for sure. Especially like if just real quick, if you're like on your opposing 30-yard line, right? I mean,
yeah,
right. It's just the analytics and whatnot. But just getting back to Ollie, it's always good news when your head coach is talking about you, and it seems like obviously he's like making an impression, right? So that's really good news. And what, like, his comments on Halfley, it seems like he wants to be taught. He wants to be coached, and that's always good news. Like we talked about with Lamar, right? Wanting to be coached, wanting, like, no matter who you are, whether you're a superstar, whether you're the last guy on the depth chart, no matter what the case is, you want to be coached, and it appears that Ollie wants that. So that's just really good news, just as a player, and kind of just embracing that, especially with this new regime. We talked about guys who, like I said maybe a couple weeks ago or last week, like, I believe that Halfley and John Eric Sullivan brought in guys that they not only want, but that want to be part of this new culture and this new chapter of Dolphins football. And Ollie appears to be that guy. I think right now, just the way he's talking about it, Halfley is. It seems like he's probably the front runner for RB2, but we need to see how things play out so far in preseason. The next preseason, well, their first preseason game is next week, right? Yeah, so we'll kind of get a better sense of what's going on there. But yeah, obviously he's been very limited so far. Played in all 17 games last year, but was limited. So this year is going to be the opportunity for him to really show up and show out, and hopefully he could not split backs with HN, because HN is going to be the workhorse for sure. But get in those types of opportunities whenever HN needs a breather.
Yeah. But having a good run game, I mean, that's what the Dolphins were in 2025. That's what they're going to aim for in 2026 in a more significant way. Again, because, that's not to say that the wide receiver room is completely devoid of talent, but, they brought in a lot of offensive line help, seemingly. They are trying to build a run first team, run it down your throat. That might benefit Malik Willis and the offense in general, or people might be paying too much attention to that, and then he can gun the ball downfield. We'll see. But one player that does seem to be impressing even more so in camp, and is a wide receiver, is wide receiver Caleb Douglas. Caleb Douglas has the right kind of frame, and he has the right kind of cuts, and he's really been balling out, which is good to see, good to hear. That could be the guy. A lot of people are saying wide receiver 1, which is kind of crazy considering he's a rookie player. I don't believe the intention. Obviously, the intention of drafting a player is you want them to be a day 1 starter, but that's not always the case. Regardless if it's a third, second, first, whatever round they may be drafted in, they have to show the work on field for them to get a starting job, and so on and so forth. But as we talked about previously, Jeff Hafley did say that he's going to give the most opportunities to the person that deserves it, regardless of where they were drafted. And Caleb Douglas appears to be that guy. He's doing really, really well alongside Malik Washington. He's getting those reps in. He's garnering trust from all 3 quarterbacks, not just Malik Willis. And great. That could be the guy that the Dolphins need. Not surprisingly, we haven't really heard much about Tutu Atwell or Jalen Tolbert, and that's not a knock against these guys, but they've never been wide receiver 1s for their previous teams for obvious reasons. And again, that's not to say that they're not gonna be, but when you don't hear much about them in camp, that could or could not be a good thing. I mean, you could be hearing too much about them, and it's not good news, but right now, the younger guys are the ones, Jacob Rodriguez, Caleb Douglas, and even Chris Bell. There's more updates on Chris Bell. I just saw a video of him running downfield at full speed. He looks really good. Again, you don't really need to rush him back, but trainers are now working with him and watching him do cuts and stuff. So it could be he's ready to go week 1 as well. Then you have another potential young star in the making, potentially, but the Dolphins need somebody in that wide receiver room. We talked about Washington for sure, and he's definitely garnered the trust from Malik Willis, but it could be Caleb Douglas pushing for that other wide receiver 2 position, potentially.
I mean, we said someone has to break out, and I think Caleb Douglas is doing just that. He's like, I see the opportunity right ahead of me. This is my first year. Any other team, I wouldn't be getting an opportunity like this. So let's go and let's take it. My only concern is he's standing out because he's actually going above and beyond, and he's all of this, or is the talent around him just so unimpressive that he's really all there is? That's a very cynical take on it, not my take, but I'm saying
I get it. I want it.
Yeah, I want to see great things from him and Chris Bell when the time is right, and I just really hope that he takes this opportunity with both hands and goes full force at it, because he's really got a wide open field literally for him to just run away with the starter job this season. So I like to see it. I mean, that's great from a rookie coming in and just immediately throwing yourself into the culture and into everything. And I think that will earn him a lot of trust with Malik Willis. So good things from him.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would certainly be a surprise in a way, because he is a rookie, but at the same time, like you said, Billy, the options are not really there. So if he could continue to do his thing, and also too, James, the video on Chris Bell. Sorry, I got him confused. But I saw the video on Chris Bell too. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy,
full speed.
He looks incredible. That was good. I was like,
fast.
I was like, is he gonna catch up to that ball? I was like, what's going on here? And it looks incredible. So if they could eventually get him back, and then 2 rookies, I mean, that's not unheard of. We're seeing 2 rookies kind of in Baltimore, kind of doing their thing.
He was a projected first round talent before he tore his ACL too. So that's what people people seem to forget about. And they obviously, when you suffer such an injury, teams are scared, but the Dolphins are like, hey, like this guy could be back, and so
Yeah, no, he could be back, and he could certainly play a role immediately in this offense. So that's exciting, and he suffered an injury back in November. So I
yeah,
think August. This is what, the ninth month or the 10th month or something like that. So he's certainly inching towards that. So if you could get Bell, whenever the case may be, and then if Douglas continues to improve, these could be eventually two guys who could be your wide receivers of the future. I mean, I know that's probably like kind of jumping the gun there, but with what they could showcase, with the type of role they could play on this offense, right? I mean, certainly the sky's the limit. Well, we still got to see it play out and whatnot, but yeah, Douglas is shining. He's doing really well. Former Red Raider there. Yeah, I mean, things could be looking up in terms of like Tutu Atwell and Jalen Tolbert. I kid you not, I completely forgot they were on the team just because like I just haven't seen anything on them. I haven't heard anything on them. I haven't read anything on them. Like, it's just, but hey, these are the guys they kind of took a gamble on. It's still early in preseason. Like you said, James, we're not going to count them out. There's still plenty of time left. But right now, you kind of wanted to hear their names more often than not. You're not hearing that. But maybe they kind of break out or show what they could do once the preseason games start rolling around.
yeah, definitely. But as Billy said, and as we've said and talked about, like it literally could be anybody at this point, and that's just the way the Dolphins offense is operating. The whole team is operating, obviously, apart from the dead set veterans like Zach Sealer and Jordan Brooks and the guys, obviously Aaron Brewer and Patrick Paul and all that. But besides that, like every other position for the most part is kind of up for grabs, and it's about who's going to work hardest. And the way that Jeff Hafley is designing this team, designing the roster and coaching, it again, no nonsense guy, get to work. Whoever works their way into that position gets that position, and that's kind of it. I know we're kind of. I'll just we'll just talk about this real quick. Why not? Yeah. After 13 years, Tom Garfinkel is no longer the CEO, president of football operations for the Miami Dolphins. Pretty sizable news here because he was very instrumental in South Florida and helping Stephen Ross build up the Dolphins as well as the Miami Grand Prix and all the sports stuff they got going on down there. Stephen Ross did announce back in January that he would not sell the team. He would instead keep it within his family. And he said that his son-in-law, Daniel Silman, would be taking over. And now they're already following through with that succession plan. Silman is now the acting or will be the CEO and president of football operations, working alongside Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan. I wanted to bring that up because it's important because now this is a new era of Dolphins football. It's a lot of changes from the very, very top all the way to the bottom. We talked about that with Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan coming in and the excitement of like, what can a full new regime do? And obviously they want to build through the draft. Like we said, they've been doing so. They've been, they're putting themselves in a better cap position in 2027. And now you have a young core that could potentially be built around in a very significant way. And it's going to be really interesting to see what Silman does as CEO and president of football operations moving forward.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was saying when I was talking about Malik Willis and just that whole big culture shift around him, like him being prepared to kind of step into this new era and be the new face of the franchise. I guess that's an opportunity that he can have. And so, I mean, I don't really know much about him, but I read that he has done great things for the organization because I think he's also involved with like the Miami Grand Prix and things. Yeah, so like and great things for the city as well. That brings in revenue and helps the economy in Miami and helps benefit the team as well. So it seems like a positive thing to me. It's always questionable, with the nepotism of it all, isn't it? But I mean, it's how it goes for most teams.
I'll say this: people have been banging on the door for Stephen Ross to give the team up for quite a while now and sell and all that stuff, because obviously when you spend over 25 years without a playoff win, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get people begging for a change, and this is, for all intents and purposes, is kind of that change now that you got Silman in the building now running things. it's that change I think that you need. And not a slight at all to Garfinkel. That guy's been fantastic for the Dolphins organization and everything. He's a fixture in South Florida. But now with all of this change, all of this again new regime from your front office to your coaching staff, now ownership, if you will,
Sure.
the big brass. Again, it's exciting. You know, you're rebuilding from the top to the bottom, and in a way that hopefully will lead to more sustained success. Obviously, this is the baby steps of the whole thing, but maybe down the line, the Dolphins will return to their prominence when they were when Dan Marino was behind center.
Yep. It is exciting. It's a new beginning. It's a rebuild to the studs. It's just what the Dolphins needed. You're kind of stuck in purgatory in a way, kind of stuck in like mediocrity or whatever. But now it's like, yeah, the tough days are kind of ahead in terms of this season in a way. But you know, there's hope. There's a future. There's new people in charge who appear to be, you know, the right people in charge. They're putting people in the right places in terms of the coaching staff, in terms of the players, all that, right? So, you know, in sports or everywhere, it always starts at the top, and then it just trickles down. And it's exciting times. Will it be 2026 when, you know, things start to look up? Probably not, but you know, like we keep on saying with this team, 2027, 2028, and so on and so forth. That's the real thing right there. If things are not right by maybe like the end of the decade, early 2030s, and that's when you're like, okay, well, did we pick the right people, whatnot? But you know, so far, like I said before, I loved how John Eric Solomon has approached this thing. I loved what he said. I love how Jeff Hafley, the players are really buying into him. That's a really good sign. And now we just got to wait and see how it all turns out.
Yeah. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Roundtable Dolphins episode 31, I think I said. One of those, 31, 32, 33.
Yep.
We're doing stuff. But yeah, if you guys like what you hear, please do us a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Go join the official Roundtable Dolphins site. I would really appreciate it. It would really help us all out. All of our news, analysis, and all that's there. But yeah, we will be back next week to talk even more training camp stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening.